comprenant les défis, les enjeux, puis la réalité des entreprises, nous sommes des spécialistes pour vous soutenir dans la gestion des ressources humaines et la formation de la main-d'œuvre. On vous donne tous les moyens pour que les retombées en ressources humaines soient au rendez-vous.
Notre créneau, c'est la gestion des ressources humaines. Que ce soit le développement de la main-d'œuvre, l'organisation du travail, la formation, le recrutement et la mobilisation des employés.
Nos services peuvent être accompagnés d'une aide financière pour répondre aux besoins de votre entreprise. Les services de soutien et d'intégration en emploi offrent les programmes de subvention salariale qui permettent de rembourser une partie du salaire de l'employé. Nous soutenons la gestion de la diversité culturelle via différents programmes qui s'adressent autant aux employés qu'aux employeurs.
Nos services, personnalisés et sur mesure, sont adaptés à vos défis et à votre réalité d'affaires. Ce qu'on peut s'attendre lorsqu'on contacte Service Québec, l'écoute, du soutien et de l'accompagnement. Nous allons analyser vos besoins en vous invitant à compléter un outil que nous avons développé, le portrait RH. Ensuite, ensemble, nous allons établir un plan d'intervention. Vous aurez ainsi accès aux subventions et aux ressources pertinentes pour vous aider dans l'atteinte de vos objectifs.
Que ce soit pour générer de la synergie d'équipe, favoriser la collaboration, améliorer la communication ou bonifier la marque employeur, on vous appuie pour que votre entreprise se démarque.
Il est essentiel que les ressources humaines soient au cœur de votre stratégie d'affaires.
Hello, good afternoon, good day, good evening. Hello, campuseros. Hola, bonjour, wherever in the world you are. Welcome to my presentation. My name is Varun Kapur. I am the co-founder of a couple of wellness startups. One of them, which I'll be talking to you mostly about, is called Counted, which is based out of Dubai. And I've also got another kind of presentation for you from another startup I started around 6 years ago called the Yogi Movement, which is more about more holistic wellness. So thanks again for taking the time to be here. You know, what we're essentially going to be talking about is how do we live a life with optimal health? And how do we do it easily? You know, how do we simplify the process of living a healthy life? What is a healthy life? And what is important to me in living a healthy life, right? So today, you know, especially as we transition out of this pandemic that we've been in, I think we've all become a bit more aware of how important it is to be healthy, right? To have a thriving immune system, to have a healthy mindset. So you're probably hearing a lot about, you know, mental health that is becoming a big thing today. We live in Dubai, and Dubai is part of the Middle East, and Middle East is known to have, you know, a lot of issues with obesity and diabetes, right? So what is it that leads to these challenges that people tend to have? You know, a lot of it is around lifestyle, a lot of it is around, you know, the foods that we eat. So we're going to be talking about nutrition a lot in my second startup, Counted, which is all about personalizing nutrition. So there's a whole lot that we're going to be talking about. But before I begin about, you know, the companies, I would maybe, you know, I'd like to give a bit more of a background about myself and what brings me here. I'm originally from India. I grew up in Dubai. Dubai, you know, back then many years ago. It was a very small, simple town. And it's obviously in the last 30 years become a global city, which is beautiful to see. And that obviously leads to, a lot of hustle culture, right? Everyone's working hard. Everyone's out there to make their millions. Everyone's there to, fly first class on that Emirates flight, right? So that culture of, hustling it takes a toll on people, right? People work hard. People overwork. People want to brag about their work, and that leads to giving up other parts of your life and not focusing on health, right, which is what we're here to talk about. So I grew up in Dubai, and I've seen a lot of this happen over the years. And I went to university in Canada, which was super fun. And then when I came back after I graduated, and I studied finance, economics, business marketing. I worked in consulting for a while, and then I had my first startup, which was in the adventure travel industry. Taking people on adventure trips. It was super fun because I'm a big adrenaline junkie. At least I used to be. Now I'm a bit more chilled out. But it was all about how do we get people outside the comfort zone? Like how do we overcome our mental barriers, right? Like to overcome that fear, to do something different. So that was super fun. Then I worked in the sports industry for a while, and that took me into media. And then I saw how the venture capital startup world was really coming alive in Dubai in those days. So I wanted to get more into the VC space. And one thing led to the next. I I joined an investment group, and then we started investing in startups. And that led to me joining a VC fund. And then I worked for 6-7 years as a VC investor, investing in a number of startups, working with many founders and entrepreneurs from across markets, across industries, right? So working in health tech, mobility, cybersecurity, travel, name it. There's always there's amazing founders all over the world, really trying to create solutions to make our society more efficient and more sustainable, right? So for me, that was super exciting. How do you empower these individuals to live and build a business of their dreams, which are eventually out there to make a positive impact, right? Simultaneously, I also had my own startup on the side, which is called Yogi Movement, which was all about mental health, spiritual well-being, peak performance, flow states, and I like to believe that we're all intrinsically yogis, and yoga does not necessarily mean that you're doing downward dogs or like wearing those tight pants and posing on Instagram, right? That's not what yoga really is. Yoga is has a lot more depth to it, to say the least, right? It's about really understanding yourself, knowing your true self, right? Living in harmony with nature, living in harmony with your own being, like being at peace, being in union with the overarching, with whatever you feel is God, whatever your definition of God is, right? So there's a whole lot of things around that. So for me, I've been a student of yoga for many years, and living two very different lives, from the spiritual and wellness life and the heavy duty business, investment, finance life. And the idea was, how do I bring it together? And that's what Counted is, right? So Counted, which is another startup I'm part of now in Dubai, which we started building a year ago, and which we launched in Dubai a few months ago only, so we're relatively new. It's all about how do we build a tech-enabled, scalable business model to help people achieve their wellness goals, right? How do we help people eat healthy, lose weight, and improve their overall health, and to give you the tools that will enable that to happen, right? So, as a first part of this presentation, I would really like you to take this time, right? Right now, you're just listening to me, right, in the session, but we can still make it a little interactive, right? We can take a minute here, right? And if you can just grab a pen and paper, right? And I would like for you to do a little exercise. It's a very simple exercise. And the question I want to ask you, which you will write down, is, how am I feeling right now? So write that down. How am I feeling right now? And then let's take a few seconds to write down whatever comes to you. Don't overthink it. Just write down whatever comes to you right now. It can be one word, it can be a bullet points. Take a moment. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. You can breathe out if you want. Just relax into your chair, wherever you are, and just ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? A follow-on to that question is, where am I feeling it now? Do you have some aches or pains in the body? Or are you feeling really nice in your belly? Do you eat something really nice and you're feeling really satiated? You're feeling good? Or you feel like you have a little lower back pain, or you just hurt yourself, or you just feel like you're tired and sleepy and your brain is just very foggy at this time. So write down, where in my body am I feeling it? So let's get a bit more physical. So again, if you want to close your eyes, take a deep breath and check in with yourself. Where am I feeling right now? Nice. So how does that feel? Now, how does it feel expressing how you feel? Right? We call these processes like check-ins, right? You just check in with yourself. It's that simple. Anytime you're feeling a bit like flustered, stressed, your breath starts kind of pumping a bit harder. It's like, let's just take a break. So another big part of what I like to talk about is like breath work, right? You probably hear about this a lot, right? You probably hear about, Wim Hof. And there's amazing breathwork exercises that he does. I highly recommend you all try Wim Hof out. Just Google it. There's another group called Soma breathwork, right? So and breathwork is part of yoga as well. So whenever you're feeling a bit stressed out, whenever you want to check in with yourself, pause and just take a deep breath, right? And you can make a sound, just blow it out, just relax into yourself. And you can just take a few deep breaths in, counting till 4. Pause and then breathe out for 4. You do this literally for 15 seconds and it changes your physiology. It changes your mind. It brings you into a new state of mind, right? And then you can go back and get your work done if that's what your priority is at that point, right? Sometimes you get in an argument with your best friend or your parents or your sibling, right? And you get pissed off. And one way to diffuse the situation, because nothing really is going to come out if you just kind of, shout back. I mean, very rarely does something good come out of that, right? So what do? You step back and just take a deep breath. Take 3 deep breaths, right? And see how that changes the situation. What does it lead to, right? So these are simple practices that you can just kind of start tapping into. For me, I'm a big fan of like practical, simple approaches to life, right? And that's where I want to take you to. Like, how do I live a good, healthy, happy life in the simplest way possible, in the way that offers the least resistance, right? So, next thing that I would like to share with you is, we talked about breath, right? We talked about check-ins, right? 2 very simple practices that are free, and it takes just a minute, less than a minute, right? How easy was that? The third thing I would like to talk to you about is sleep, which I will share with you a presentation now, which will come up on screen, about sleep. There we go. So welcome to sleep, and sleep is a very interesting part of our lives, right? We are experiencing it. We do it every day, and it's highly underrated in our culture, right? We all know we should sleep, but somehow we don't. Because probably sleeping is somewhat counterintuitive to a culture of hustling, right? It really is the single most important thing one can do for the health. So I highly recommend you, right, to sleep, enjoy your sleep. You cannot fake sleep. So just go and get it done. Now, there's a lot of symptoms and manifestations of sleep deprivation, right? You notice decrease in physical energy, right? Diminished motivation. You have increased sensitivity to pain, cognitive changes, loss of efficiency, difficulty with attentiveness, breakdown in judgment, tendency to become negative. So if you don't get sleep, it leads to a whole range of other issues, right? And this is the beauty is sleep and healing. It all comes together, right? So sleep is when you actually, your body is actually restoring and repairing itself, right? And it's also the time for the hormones to get back into a healthy level, right? So when you sleep, your body can make more white blood cells, right? And there's less demands made on your heart. So your blood pressure will drop. So these are like scientific things. I don't want to take you through everything in writing, but you get the gist, right? Like this is something to show you, like, just an example of the different elements of sleep and how hectic and intense it can be, right? So even if you take a nap, it's super powerful, right? So we have 5 to 6 cycles of sleep daily. Each of them which lasts 90 minutes. You've probably heard of like REM sleep and non-REM sleep. I highly recommend you do some research and figure out, what is your sleep recovery looking like. Today you have a lot of like fitness wearables like Whoop and stuff that even track your sleep. So if you feel you would like to wear buy a wearable and like see how that kind of helps you in your process, right? So today we have technology that are helping us in all these ways. And then obviously, you have physical effects, cardiovascular disorders. If you're not sleeping well, insomnia is, a large contributor to stroke, right? And that also leads to diabetes, which I spoke to you earlier. Like people are working so hard, hustle. They don't sleep enough. And then that can lead to diabetes. It can lead to depression, when in fact you want to be creative, right? You want to be in a flow state. So there's a few ways we can, sleep better, right? How do we improve sleep? And this is something that I can leave up here for a while, but we can talk about it. Like, wouldn't you like to sometimes sleep like that bear that's just passed out on that big branch right now? Like, just pass out. Like, that's super. Sometimes it's so good to just zone out, right? So a good thing to do before sleep is like just do nothing before you go to bed, right? Don't have stimuli all the time. So yes, you're probably watching Netflix or you're chatting on your phone or there's a whole lot of things that are bombarding us. Maybe 20 minutes before, build up a routine of you zoning, like, toning it in, zoning in, like, just relax into bed, light a candle, do something that's very more relaxing, right? You can have a bath with like some nice Epsom salts and just kind of detox a bit. Another really good thing, which I find really useful, is journaling and writing down your thoughts. Even sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, like at 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm just buzzing with thoughts, like all the things I have to do for work and all the things that are coming up. And I can either think about it for like 2 hours before I fall back asleep again, or I sometimes bring a journal and I'm in bed, right? And in the dark, I have a blank page and I'm just writing down my thoughts, right? Like, I don't even know where I'm writing it, but I'm just writing it down. And that really helps me a lot, right? It's I fall asleep, I've realized a lot quicker when I've just started writing things down. I know that, okay, I've just put it outside my head and it's like it's dumped somewhere now. So it works, right? And then, there's also a new thing called weighted blankets that are really cool, right? So try it out, do your research on it. But it really keeps you like nice and cozy and has a very nice scientific approach. I personally have not used it, but I heard it's really kick-ass. And then exercise more, burn some energy, right? We need to move energy. Energy is meant to be burned and moved around. So I highly recommend you kind of try out a few of these tactics where, it would really help. So that's where, I thought I would share with you just a few practical insights on, again, how you can up-level your wellness in a simple way, right? Simple, easy, free, is really think about how am I sleeping. And you might be thinking, oh no, it's impossible. I just have this long-term insomnia problem and I can just never sleep. And I have to challenge you on that, right? I've worked with many people who've had insomnia, who've had anxiety and so forth. And as you work through many of these approaches, things get better. So I highly recommend you take the time out. Nothing is more important than your health. Like, think about it. Nothing is more important than your health. Like, you think your boss has given you a time, or your teacher has given you a deadline that you need to reach, right? Yes, get your homework or your work done, right? But at the same time, you have to look after yourself. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. Like, are you actually going to keep doing this? It's not going to work out. So just keep that in mind, right? I would now like to take you through a little bit about, Counted, our other startup, right, which is in Dubai. And it's about, I'm just going to shed some light. This is our official deck. I'm going to just, browse through it, and just to show you, how we're thinking through a few different things at Counted. But, what we're essentially doing is we're hacking health, right? And how we're doing that is for three key people, right? There are a lot of people out there who want to get healthy. You have the busy working professional, you have the overweight who don't have guidance and support, and then you have the health conscious, right? People who lack motivation and they don't know, what needs to happen next. So what we're building is essentially a personalized nutrition solution. So basically, based on your goals and preferences and diets, we recommend you healthy meals at the right time. We also connect you with coaches, right? And these coaches and nutritionist coaches guide you on your journey. We also do health monitoring, like blood tests. We also integrate with fitness trackers. There's a whole lot of fun stuff. And then there's gamification. We realize that people want to lose weight and eat healthy and really hit their goals. It needs to be fun. Like, we need to have fun to be healthy. Just don't take it too seriously. And it also needs to be cheap, right? Sometimes people think, I have to get a personal trainer. It's going to cost me too much money. Screw it. I'm not going to do it, right? So the first thing what we're doing is meal plans. We're doing healthy meal plans, but it's more, we don't cook any food. We're a platform tech place, so we connect with healthy restaurants in the city, and we make sure healthy meals are delivered to you wherever you are in the city based on your preferences. So your allergies are taken care of, your calories, your macros, everything is beautifully displayed on a user experience on an app where you can select meals, you can replace meals, you can get to see meals. It's a subscription model, so you can subscribe for meals up to a week or a month in advance. So it really makes it easy for you to eat healthy, right? A lot of people don't know where to start. Like, you go on the aggregators like Deliveroo and stuff, and you get lost, right? You're just bombarded with pizzas and burgers. So we want to kind of overcome that. The second part is we connect you with our coaches. You can work with us. We guide you on your journey, and we make sure that you stay aligned. You can use a platform. You can make a booking. You can book in a time, and then you have a coach that works with you to really hit and achieve your wellness goals in a sustainable way. And the cool thing is our app also connects with a Fitbit or Apple Health, so you can sync your tracker with us. So you get to really see what calories you're burning, the distance you're traveling, but your meals are also automatically logged into your diary page, so you don't have to manually input everything. So manually input tends to be not really that sustainable. People get bored of it. So we want to overcome that, and then soon, we're incorporating gamification challenges. So how do we make it fun? How do we have some competitions in there? Like, it's proven as a science to really get you kind of going, right? So, and then all of this is kind of laid out in the back-end dashboard where your coach gets to see everything that you're doing, and all the data is tracked, and we get to monitor your situation. Now, there's as you look at the industry around health and wellness, there's many ways of kind of presenting your information, right? So one way that, as a student or somebody who wants to build a startup, one thing that you should look at is, your competitive landscape, right? Who are your competitors? How are you playing amongst these competitors? What differentiates you, right? So we are competing with the meal plan businesses, the aggregators, some other health and wellness coaching platforms. So really think about, how am I positioning my business? What makes me unique? And how do I take it to the next level, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind, in terms of, how you want to build your business. And, if anybody wants to kind of reach out to me, you have my email at the bottom. It's varun@counted.com. Just feel free to drop me a line, use Campuseros as a reference, and I'll make sure to get back to you. If any of this conversation inspires you, motivates you to, kickstart your own kind of entrepreneurial journey, we can always discuss that a bit more. So yeah, those are the kind of two startups, that I'm involved in the health and wellness side of things. for me, what really drives me is, how do we help each other, right, step into our power, right? How do I tap into all the amazing content? Like if you're talking about nutrition, right? There's so much amazing content around nutrition today, but the challenge is also a lot of it is confusing, right? You have one news report tells you carbs are good, another news report comes out carbs are bad. One report comes out eggs and dairy are good, then it comes out eggs and dairy are bad. Like, what do we eat, right? And I think you have to. The world is not perfect, right? And you have big business out there, right? You have corporations out there that are driving marketing agenda. So then you have to figure out, you have to be a bit more cognizant of yourself and ask yourself, what works for me, right? What makes me feel good? What doesn't make me feel good? What are my values, right? Do I care about sustainability? Maybe, eating meat is not the most sustainable way because of the land and the water use and the way the animals are treated, like all of that stuff, right? You've probably seen documentaries like Seaspiracy, right? Does that make an impact on you? If not, that's your prerogative. I'm not here to judge. But does that make an impact? If it makes an impact, how do I make my behaviors change so it aligns with my values and my mindset of how I want to eat going forward, right? Sugar, we all hear about how bad sugar is. Hell, I still eat ice creams. I love my sugar stuff. But I did go vegetarian a few years ago, or actually 8 years ago. So I've been vegetarian based on a few things, based on how meat made me feel. Well, I didn't feel like it made me feel particularly great, like made me feel heavy. But also then all the work and research I was doing and the things I was doing made an impact on me, right? So I made that decision for myself. Now, everyone has their own way of living their lives. So, live your life. It's all good. But are you healthy? Right? Is it making you feel good? Physically, but even emotionally and mentally? Like, do you feel, does it make you feel bad sometimes that you eat meat? If you keep feeling bad, then why are you doing this to yourself, right? Like, maybe just stop, right? If you do care about that particular cause or that issue that we're facing as a collective, right? So the whole thing about nutrition is building relationship with your food, right? So it's the mindset you have and how do I think of food, right? Do I pray before I eat? Do I thank the Lord before I have my meal, right? Do I say praise? So these are things as well. These are all the ways of like gratitude. How do you bring in these different approaches to approach your overall health and wellness? It's not easy, right? It's a habit of behavior change that you need to start incorporating into your life because no one's going to come and tell you that you should be doing something. Today, you are your own person, right? You don't want to be told what you want. You don't want to be told anything. Like, you want to live, today we all want to live our lives on our own terms, right? So what are your terms? And all of these things can change. It's very important to realize that who I was yesterday does not mean I'm the same person tomorrow. Let's think about that, right? I am not who I used to be. And I have every moment today, I have the opportunity to reinvent myself. I can create a new me today, right now. Right? So my last question to you before I leave you is, right? And think about this. Who do I want to be? Write it down. You have a pen and paper right there. Write it down. Who do I want to be? Write that question down, and then you can answer it in your own time. The second question, what are my values? And the third and final question, who is my health and wellness hero that I would like to emulate? Maybe you want a six-pack like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. You want that? Figure out his workout routine and his schedule, what he did, and you'll get it, right? So there was a time when I wanted to have that Brad Pitt kind of figure, That was many years ago, but that was good. But again, so create your role models, right? See what they do, and then create your own vision and goals for yourself. And goals can be flexible, so don't get too strict in your goals either. And then build the right relationship and go and be the best person that you can be and live the healthiest life. Today, you're seeing a lot of research on longevity, right? So research that, like how do you live a healthier, longer life? right? So anyways, I can go on forever, but I think you get the gist of where I'm going with this. And yeah, thanks again for listening, for participating, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, sharing a little bit about my journey and story with you all. Feel free to reach out, and thank you very much.